Thank you for using Caring Assistance. The Consumer-Directed Personal Assistant Program, which will be referred to as the CDPAP program throughout this video, allows the consumer to pick the person they want to care for them. They may choose a friend or family member, a son, daughter, niece, nephew, to be their personal assistant, as long as that person is not their spouse, legal guardian, designated representative, or parent of a child under 21. In CDPAP, the consumer, or his or her designated representative, will be the personal assistant's employer, and they will be responsible for hiring, training, scheduling, supervising, and, if necessary, firing the personal assistant. The consumer is required to have enough personal assistance to cover the hours of service and provide backup care if needed. A personal assistant can be scheduled up to 40 hours per week. If the need is for over 40 hours in a week, the consumer must hire a second personal assistant. If, with Caring Assistance approval, a personal assistant will work more than 40 hours, they will be paid time and a half, even if the 40 hours are divided between more than one consumer. The Caring Assistance app. The personal assistant is required to sign in and out using the Caring Assistance app. Only the consumer, or if applicable, the designated representative, must be the one to sign the timesheets electronically through the Caring Assistance app, which verifies that they received services from the personal assistant. The personal assistant cannot sign. Changes in schedule. If there is any change in circumstances that may affect the consumer's ability to fulfill their responsibilities in the CDPAP program, it must be immediately reported to caring professionals and the consumer's insurance provider. This includes, but is not limited to, any significant change in the consumer's medical or mental condition. Designated representative. Even if the consumer can direct their own care, they still have the option to choose a designated representative with the approval of their insurance provider. If there is a designated representative, he or she takes all the responsibilities of the consumer, including hiring and firing personal assistants as needed, signing to confirm the personal assistant's visits on the app, and confirming the personal assistant's services. The designated representative needs to sign only their own name. Authorization. The consumer cannot allow the personal assistant to provide service if Caring Assistance does not have a valid authorization from their insurance provider, whether it is the first authorization or any recurring authorization. If there is a change in the consumer's insurance coverage, whether from their insurance provider or Medicaid, it must be immediately reported to Caring Assistance. If the consumer had a lapse in Medicaid coverage, we will not be able to provide service until the consumer is back on Medicaid, unless specifically authorized by the consumer's insurance. If the consumer is admitted to the hospital, skilled care facility, or adult day center, the personal assistant may not work, and it must be immediately reported to both the case manager and the insurance provider. If the consumer is receiving dialysis, you must let Caring Assistance know so we can obtain approval from your insurance to provide services during the treatment time. If the consumer travels out of state, they must report their travel to both your insurance provider and Caring Assistance. If the consumer will be receiving services out of state, we will need prior approval from the consumer's insurance provider. If the personal assistant will miss a visit, it is the responsibility of the consumer to find a replacement. If there are any changes in the employment status of a personal assistant, it must be reported to Caring Assistance and the insurance plan. If a personal assistant becomes ill or injured in any way that they will miss visits, it must be reported to caring assistants immediately. Caring assistants will provide disability insurance, and the personal assistant will need medical clearance to return to work. If a personal assistant is injured while working for the consumer, it must be immediately reported to caring assistants. Caring assistants will provide workers' comp insurance, and the personal assistant will need medical clearance to return to work. Schedule and payment. The personal assistant may only work the hours authorized by the consumer's insurance. If there are hours scheduled outside of what the contract authorizes, it is the responsibility of the consumer to pay the personal assistant. Your caring assistance coordinator will set up a master week, and that is the basic schedule that needs to be kept. Any changes must be reported prior to the date of the change, so you can be sure that your personal assistant will be paid. If there needs to be a temporary change in the schedule, the coordinator must be notified before the scheduled shift is supposed to start. The same is for any missed visit. The coordinator must be informed before the scheduled visit would have started, or as soon as possible. You can do this through the messaging feature on the Caring Assistance app. Compliance. To assure the consumer is receiving quality care, there will be periodic phone calls and unannounced visits. Since this program is funded by Medicaid dollars, Caring Assistance is obligated to monitor and report any discrepancies between the work reported that we are aware of and what is actually happening. Any suspected violations must be reported. Caring Assistance has a rigorous compliance program to protect the agency and the consumer. Electronic timesheets must be filled out accurately and fully. Any questionable timesheet will not be processed and may be investigated by the compliance officer. The timesheets must reflect the actual times serviced, not the scheduled times. Payment. The personal assistant will be paid 10 days after their work week is completed, and only if proper payroll policies are followed. Caring Assistant's work week runs Monday to Sunday, and personal assistants are paid the following Wednesday. The personal assistant has the option for their payments to be either direct deposited or on a pay card. If the personal assistant decides to use direct deposit, there's a chance that the first payment might be on a pay card depending on when paperwork was submitted. If payment is made on a pay card, it must be picked up at one of our offices. When the first paycheck is paid, the personal assistant will receive an email from our payroll company called "You've Got Paid." The personal assistant must open the link and register to have access to pay stubs, W-2s, etc. The personal assistant should check their spam folder if they do not see the email in their inbox. Starting services. No services can start until the consumer receives a call from their Caring Assistance coordinator saying that it can start. Only a coordinator can confirm a start date. The personal assistant runs the risk of not getting paid if you start services prior to hearing directly from your coordinator. Once service started. Once services start, you should contact your coordinator when you have any questions. Please do not contact the intake person or enroller. You can easily contact your coordinator through the Caring Assistance app. Forms to complete. The personal assistant needs to complete an annual self-health assessment, and the personal assistant needs to have their PPD administered and read. Human Resources will contact the personal assistant months in advance to remind them and allow them adequate time to complete. An expiration date will be given to the personal assistant, and it is the personal assistant's responsibility to return the documents prior to that expiration date. In the event that they are not returned on time, the personal assistant will not be eligible to take part in the CDPAP program and will not be paid by caring assistants if they do work until the necessary documents are returned. Paid time off. The personal assistant will have the benefit of paid time off. 40 unused hours roll over to the following calendar year. The rest are lost. The personal assistant can request PTO for any hours that they are not servicing. The minimum number of hours that they can request per day is 4. The request needs to be submitted within 14 days of the date requested. The personal assistant requests the time by contacting their coordinator. Only active personal assistants can request PTO, not if they are terminated or the case is discharged. Don't hesitate to call your coordinator with any questions or concerns. The number for the CDPAP office is 718-882-3727. By following the guidelines discussed in this video, you and the consumer can enjoy a seamless, enjoyable experience.